What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Speak Out Loud, the story behind the brand. I'm your host, Lynette Jackson, and I am so excited to have another opportunity to hang out with you. You know, it's Tuesday. Tuesday, my favorite day. You know why? Because I get to hang out with you. All right. So listen, I have a amazing fun guest tonight, right? And this is something we're doing that's going to be something different, okay? Where you're going to get a chance to come on live on this podcast live, okay? And talk to my guest, ask him a question, okay? And so if you go to my Facebook page, you go to Facebook, you can go to Lynette Jackson, you can go to Roar the Group. You can even go to my guest's page when I tell you what his name is, and you can click the link, okay? Click the link and join this live podcast and ask my guest anything. All right, all right. So I don't know about you, but if you're ready, I'm ready. My guest is ready. So if you're ready, it's time to speak out loud. Let's go.
You're watching Speak Out Loud, the story behind the brand.
About that. See how modest she is, y'all? But let's go. So roasted crickets, I'm like, not eating that.
Yeah.
Consistency.
Every day showing up, even when you don't feel like it.
And now your host, Lynette Jackson.
That's right. That's right. I'm your host, Lynette Jackson, and I'm super excited to be here with you for another edition of Speak Out Loud, the story behind the brand. We're going to hear an amazing story today behind the brand. Listen, I have known this person. I'm going to date myself, and he's going to date me too, because that's how he is. But I've been knowing him for over 40 years. Yeah, he'll tell you that too. But that means he's older than I am. So that means he's older. I'm not. I'm still the young buck in this whole situation. So I am super excited to have you guys join me today. So before we get started and before I introduce my guest, I have to, I've got to do some due diligence and I've got to run a couple commercial spots from our sponsors. Let's go.
If you're looking for a t-shirt that would help you spread God's word, look no further. Word Wise Up t-shirts are a great way to share your faith with others and help support a good cause. For every t-shirt sold, donations will be given to the End Time Harvest Christian Center Boys Orphanage in Kenya. This shirt feeds. It feeds spiritually, physically, and financially. Check out our website today, wordwiseup.com, to learn more about how you can help us make a difference in the world. The holidays can be a difficult time for many people, especially those who are struggling with mental health issues. Telehealth 24/7 provides quality mental health care for anyone who needs it. That's why this year we're offering our Community Assistance Program. You will receive 3 individual 50-minute virtual counseling sessions for the low price of $120. If you or someone you know is feeling overwhelmed this holiday season, log on to our website, telehealth247.org, and schedule your sessions today because you don't have to feel alone during the holidays.
That's right. You don't have to feel alone this holiday season. Let me just say this, I've lost a lot of friends this year, okay? And last year and the year before during COVID and things like that. And I'm going to say this, it's really difficult. We know during the holidays to navigate what's going on in our lives. And, this year there's going to be someone that's not going to be sitting at that chair for Thanksgiving or for Christmas. The chair that grandma used to sit in, the chair that uncle used to sit in, auntie, mom, dad, brother, sister. And so Telehelp 24/7 is offering 3 50-minute coaching sessions for $120. Now, $120, if you go just to buy a session, it's going to cost you about that much, $100 or more, just to have a session with a therapist. It's okay to talk to a therapist. I'm going to be talking with my guest about that. It's okay to talk to a therapist if you have a challenge or you're having some challenges, but it's important. So for 3 sessions, you can get 3 sessions for $120. Just log on to their website, telehelp247.org, and schedule one of these sessions. The period of time is now through December 31st. So they want to prepare you for the holidays and help you navigate this tough time. I know I'm going to get some sessions because I've lost some good friends and I need to help. I need some help navigating through that process. All right, well, let's have some fun. Let's go and get ready with my guest. Listen, you guys may have known him. You may have met him. You may have seen me talk with him. You see me on his podcast. I've been on his podcast. It's just a lot. I am so honored to have one of my very, very best friends on the podcast today. And that is none other than Mr. Gene, and as he has it here, Tinkerbell Banks. Gene Banks, welcome to Speak Out Loud, sir. What's going on?
Well, thank you for having me. This is the first time I've had a chance to really break out and really talk to people because, you know, as you all know, I've had a few surgeries lately, and that's been pretty interesting. And you were talking about the fact of having therapy and all those things. There was some interesting situations going on here.
Absolutely.
I can smile and laugh about it now. In between those 2 surgeries of hip, my mother-in-law passed away, who's at age 95, who was a centerpiece of our whole lives. And things changed for all of us with her passing. So there was a lot to navigate. And and then also I get this job to help bring back athletics and the mascot name and so forth. That's a lot to ask for in a year to 2 year span.
Yeah. So here's the thing, Gene. I always ask my guests to answer the 4 clarity questions. Okay.
Yeah.
And that is, who are you? What do you do? Why do you do it? And who do you do it for? So why don't you start off telling people, believe it or not, there may be some people who don't know who Gene Banks is.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. I mean, a lot of people didn't even know I was born in South Philly instead of West Philly. You know?
Okay.
And we matriculated, as that you can use that, migrated more or less is the better word, from South Philly to West Philly because of my stepdad. My mom and dad had separated and divorced, so to speak, early. We lived in Bartram Village, but then we moved from there, and my mom started dating Walter Williams. And Walter Williams, which is really interesting, Walter Williams is the first cousin of Sherman Hemsley from the Jeffersons.
Really?
Yeah, and that was really interesting. I got to meet him and know him earlier in our lives because he would hang with my uncles and his cousin, and they would go to the bars in South Philly and sing. They all thought they would sing, and they could. They were pretty good. They would sing, and then they would hang out. So I got a chance to really know him at an early age, but we never knew he was going to be like George Jefferson or nothing like that.
Okay.
And my stepdad was built just like him. They look like twins. And,
is that right?
Yeah, and my mom's 5'11", so it's almost 6 feet. So go figure, Mutt and Jeff kind of thing.
So born in Philadelphia.
Yep.
And tell us about your basketball career.
My basketball career was pretty interesting. My dad has never really gotten the praise in anything, even when I talked when I went to West Philly or college. But my dad was the one that took me out with him, and he was hanging out. My dad loved to play basketball, and that probably was one of the reasons why my mom almost kind of kicked his butt out because he wasn't getting a job. He was playing basketball and checkers all the time. And
okay.
And you learn something. I'm going to write a book eventually about all this because people are learning something more about me all the time.
Right.
But he would take me with him, and he would play. And after he got done with playing, he would throw the ball at me, and I would try to dribble. He would trip me. He would give me a wedgie. So he made it fun. It was like a father and son hanging out, and I enjoyed doing that.
Okay.
It wasn't like he was trying to teach me to be an AAU or like fathers and mothers are doing now.
Okay.
Hanging out.
So you went to West Philly High School. We both went to West Philly High School. That's where I met you. I was in 10th grade and you were a senior, so I'm younger than you are. You're an old head. And so, yes, I am younger than you are.
What happens when people are talking like that and things start shaking and
Things
falling?
start shaking around, right?
Because you were a young head, and people don't know about you, but you were, and I got to get this right. You were a color guard.
Yes, I was a color guard. I was not a majorette. Please do not make me a majorette because they
One of the
twirled the
best.
toms. But I was more deadly. I had a rifle, so I would spin a
Yeah.
rifle.
They had to spin the rifle, and you were
Yeah.
amazing. You were amazing.
We had at our high school, we had one of the greatest color guard teams there. And so I would go to all of your games because we would perform all the halftime shows at your games. And so I got to follow your career through, well, really that 1 year because you were a senior.
Yeah.
But then I got to follow your career to Duke University, where you became Duke All-American. And so here is something that, I have a special guest that just popped in, but I think they went on mute. So they're there. I can't add them in until I see their face again, see their face back in. Special guests, are you there? Can you? Okay, perfect. Because I have to kind of set this up for you. You're Duke All-American. I followed your career in Duke. So here's a little something that I found that I wanted to show for people, just in case they don't know who you are. And I do believe my special guest is in this footage as well. Watch this.
Very difficult for Mike Krzyzewski to know which way it's going to go, obviously. Look at where Gene Banks is. He's right down around the basket area. Denard may just going to be trying to loop this thing up to Banks.
There it is. Banks gets off the shot.
It's in! Now, wait a minute.
Yeah, they said the 2 points count. The basket is good. We'll go to overtime.
Unbelievable.
Fantastic shot by Banks. Ties the score at 58. Vince Taylor breaks in the lanes, and there's the rebound put up by Banks. Duke leads 66-65 with 15 seconds to go. North Carolina,
14.
no timeout remaining. 10 seconds. Jimmy Black driving. Here's Black cross court. Mike Pepper. Pepper with 4 seconds. And it's going to be Chris Bosh. The time is over. Duke has won the game.
Duke has won the game. And so there was a person that was named. There were several people named in there, but there was one particular person that was named that passed the shot to you. Do you think you could think who that person is?
Oh my God. Everybody's going to be in a treat. That's the dog, Kenny Denard.
No, guess
No.
again.
Who passed the ball to me?
Somebody passed the ball to you. I believe they did. Well, I'm gonna take you out of some. Well, you got another thought? Can you?
It's Vince Taylor.
It's Vince Taylor.
Oh my God.
Vince
My
Taylor.
Wow, that's awesome.
That is right. Kenny did make the pass for you for the shot.
Yes. Yes.
And in that last clip, I missed the shot and you tipped it in. So that was like a pass. We can say
It
that
was like
a
a
pass.
pass. Hey, Vince, I'm gonna
Yes.
give you a pass on that. Okay.
Oh,
There you go. There you go. I planned it. That's I had a
cool.
lot of confidence. If I missed the shot, he was gonna go get it. That's what I thought. So hey.
Wow.
Nah, man. Yes, sir.
You know, Vince, when we talk about branding too, when he came in, Vince Taylor, but they called it, he had his hair all.
Here you go.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it was a shad. Everybody was wearing like a shad
He
cut,
had a
man.
set. But the girls loved it. The girls loved it. That's when he became the Prince, and we can go on more about that other story. But we
Vince,
were
how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm down in Orlando, and me and Tink, my big brother, he's like big brother. We talk at least, I don't know, 3 or 4 times a week, and we rely just like I relied on him when he was one of the main reasons why I came to Duke, as All-American and stuff. But he's always been like a big brother for me and always there for me, and it's the same thing as we've grown older. it's the same thing. You know, I'm there for him, he's there for me. So it's and just like Kenny, all the guys, our brotherhood. So it's always great to have a chance to get on the show and talk about the things we reminisce, and you know how that goes.
Okay,
people don't realize there were several games. He was such an unsung hero with us. The 1980 ACC tournament championship game against Maryland. Words cannot. You look at the whole game. The game comes down in football, baseball, comes down to some plays. And he had two major back-to-back plays, steals in that game to bring us back to even get us to that championship win. I contribute our championship win to Vince Taylor. The other guys, we all did well. I did such, but to get those back-to-back steals in the crucial moments of the game and put it to that position, he's hailed as the champion who helped us win that championship.
So, Vince, can you tell us one story about Gene that maybe not many other people know? Because it is right now, let's embarrass Gene moment. Let's embarrass Gene.
We joke. Hey, I've gone through so many. When we get on the phone, we reminisce and talk. I don't know if I can put him on the airways right now, but there's so many. The biggest thing is, and we're such good friends, and we joke. It's hard to embarrass him because we done gone through so many stories. But I would just say, outside of stories, just that I came there as a freshman, and they had just went to the championship, and he was a freshman. He led them to the championship because what people don't, the hardest thing we always just joke about is that there was Duke. And this is no shade to Coach K. There was Duke before Coach K.
Yes.
That's what people don't understand. There it was. And if you go through the record books and stuff like that, so I was like a little pup, and I was following him along. And Gene wasn't that much older. He was a year older than me. But when you get all the accolades, you lead your team to the champion, to a national championship as a runner-up. So I was just all taking it in, and taking it in, and I was like Batman. When we was hanging out, I was like Batman and Robin. He was Batman and I was Robin. I was the side. I was the side. And I said, look, everybody knows Tink. We go parties, hang out. I said, all I gotta do is hang with my boy, and I'm gonna be good. Because everybody's gonna come around, and I'm gonna meet all these other, women, everybody. So it was crazy.
You were daring to go over Carolina. I did not go over.
Yes.
Okay.
There's stories to talk about me, but Vince will go over to Carolina.
I got behind the enemy lines quite. I snuck back there.
Behind the enemy lines.
Behind the enemy lines.
Let me just tell you this: they did more than get behind the enemy lines. Okay.
Well, what was going on over at Carolina that made you go over there?
Look, well, they had. I must say. We would hang out, and they had a lot of beautiful, nice women over there. But you got to realize, Duke was a small private school. Now you're going to Carolina, it's got 20-some thousand, and I just thought the numbers, the odds are better with larger numbers.
Okay.
Y'all really don't know.
Put it bluntly,
y'all really don't know the story. But I'm gonna give a little bit. This man here.
Okay.
He is the Carolina killer.
Oh man! Don't even start. Do not say that.
I'm not going to give him too much. I'm just going to say he's a Carolina killer.
Well, explain what the Carolina killer is. Explain what that is,
so
that people would know.
You're talking on the court, right?
No, I'm talking that too. I'm talking about he was a prince. Even other guys. On the other
There you go.
Women wanted
man, there you go.
That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna say anything. No. I saw a situation where we were on the free throw line. He's at the free throw line, and I saw one of them wave at him. I'm not gonna tell you what position she was at. And the other one came by the court. This is in Cameron, and she stopped and she waved. and I looked at the two guys that were on that court, and they were Tar Heel guys. I'll just leave it like that. And I walked through him. He said, "Tink, leave me alone." I said, I just saw something that was incredible. And he just said, "They're going to shoot this other free throw." I said, "No. I saw something." I go back and I just started smiling inside my spirit. I was like, "This dude here is no joke. My little brother is no joke." So,
wow.
all the stories about me you want, but that one I can go more. I can't give you no more detail than that. But I'm just telling you, this man is a Carolina killer.
All right.
Hey, Lynette, I read something. I remember, I'll never forget. I might have been a junior. This is a story I read, and I read it in the paper, and I said, I was a junior and Tink was a senior, and I remember them asking him what he wanted to be after basketball.
When he grew up.
When he grew up, he said, "I'm gonna be governor of Pennsylvania." I said, "Man." You remember,
Reaching
that,
large, right?
Remember that?
I remember.
And I said,
Governor.
This dude, as growing up, I said, this guy has always the most confidence and belief in himself. Anybody, I mean, because I was like, wow, that threw me. I was like, some gets, if I'm going to do this, obviously he knew he was going to be a pro, but he said, after that, I'm going to be the governor of Pennsylvania. I said, man.
Be the governor.
Yeah, you got to think big,
He
right?
ain't even going to be the mayor. He's just going to be the
mayor.
governor.
I'm going to be the governor. I said, I looked at it twice. I said, something like Muhammad Ali would say back in the day when I was growing up. and it threw the press off. They're like, wow, this dude.
Wow.
But that's who, you got to think big, and he was a leader. That's, how that is. And he was there. That's what he thought.
Well, we're doing something different on the Speak Out Loud podcast. This is Embarrass Gene Banks Day. This is let's just have some fun with Gene. He is an incredible individual. And Gene, someone has just popped in from Philadelphia.
Uh-oh.
You were very connected with them back at West Philadelphia High School.
Really?
Yeah. Very connected with this person. So this is a great opportunity for even this person to ask Vince the Prince a question, Gene a question, or even share a little dirt on Gene. Let's go. Let's bring in my next guest. Guest, are you ready? Let's go. Keith Johnson.
Oh my goodness, Keith.
I don't know about that setup, Nat.
You have to tell them who Keith really
Welcome
is.
to Speak Out Loud, Keith, the story behind the brand. And I just want to say for anybody else that is out there watching you, if you go to my Facebook page, you'll see a link that will allow you to do exactly what Vince and Keith did. Pop in and ask Gene a question. And so, Keith, do you have a question, a comment? He's scared now. He's scared. Do you have a question, a comment, or do you have some dirt?
God.
Do you have some dirt?
Nah, I'm not going to dish dirt.
Well, first of all, how do you know him? Tell us how you know him.
Well, I had the opportunity to create the legend of Gene Banks when I went to high school. I kept score, and he scored 25. When the reporters contacted me, I said he had 30.
So wait. You were the manager of the team back at West Philly High. We all went to West Philly except for Vince. Vince, what high school did you go to?
I went to Tates Creek in Lexington, Kentucky.
Oh, so you're from Kentucky.
Well, I grew up originally in Chicago, and then I moved to Kentucky for my high school years.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, the three of us went to West. Gene and Keith were the same year, right? You guys were same year.
No,
Keith's a year ahead of me.
Yeah, I'm 76.
Oh, that's right. Because I didn't go with you. That's right, Keith. I didn't. You were gone by the time I came in. Because I'm a baby. So y'all are old heads, right?
Yes, we are.
You did mention.
I'm class of 77. Keith's class of 76.
Keith, I didn't know you were 6. I'm 79. You 6. Woo, Keith. But you look good, bro. You look good. You look good.
Keith was the man.
Keith was the man. He was the manager of the team. So go ahead and tell us about padding those scores.
I was a young boy. You know, the thing was, when Keith was a manager, I think when I was in 10th grade, and I was the young guy coming in. We had great players like Tim Smith, who went on to play at University of Pennsylvania, and we played them going to the Final Four, the championship game. Calvin Goodwin, the late Calvin Goodwin, the late Michael Collins, who was a point guard, the late Mark DeWhite. There are three guys on that starting lineup that have passed away, not of late, and Will Lorick. So we're looking at Michael Collins, Calvin Goodwin, Mark DeWhite, and Will Lorick. All those four guys have passed away, and they were the top six on our team. Only Timmy and myself are left from that particular starting lineup.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, the only story I got to add was, Coach Goldenberg, he would work Gene out before practice. Man, because he would tell Gene, one day, Gene, you're not going to be the biggest, baddest guy on the court. You better learn how to. And so I would be the only one as the crash dummy.
That's right. You had to catch it. You had to catch these. You had to catch all of these.
While he was practicing his post moves. So, I got whole new definition of head butted because I got the butt in the head.
He's killing you.
So let's really quickly talk about Coach Goldenberg, because Gene, you just attended and this is interesting because it was like racism in sports is what we wanted to talk about. We want to just poke some fun and have some fun with you today. We want to talk about a really serious subject, but listen, you just attended a interesting ceremony. Share that in Philadelphia.
Joe Goldenberg, who is Jewish, was our coach, and he really trained us very well. I was very, very fortunate to have a coach like him. He even disciplined me to the point that he sat me down for a championship game. One of the biggest championship games, us playing against Overbrook, and you're talking about 12, 13,000 at the Palestra. And I did something childish, young.
Tell us what you did. What did you do?
I missed practice.
You missed practice.
I missed practice. He had a rule that you miss practice before a game, you don't play in a game.
Wow.
I thought it was legit. I wasn't feeling well, and I just got to take some time off.
Keith is laughing. He's like, okay.
I was a little sick, but I wasn't that sick. But to make a long story short, I ran back up to get to practice, and what he did, instead of having practice at the gym, they had it down at the Palestra. He was able to call the Palestra to have a 1 hour shoot around, and that was all word of mouth around the school. He did that from time to time throughout my career. I just happened to wasn't at school that day for that moment, for that pass around. When I got up there, I saw Vince Ross run. He left. He was going somewhere. I thought, okay, so where's everybody at? He says, at the Palestra. I had no token. I had no car. And the Palestra is like another 12 or 13 blocks away from West Bay High. So I'm running all the way down there. By the time I got there, they only give you an hour. You go on there and you're off. That's it.
Okay.
After they were gone. So to make a long story short, I called him and told him blah, blah, blah. He just said, you know the rule. And he got deference. He got deference. It was serious. It was very, very serious. And I had to sit there and not so much humiliation, but it was. Because if the team would have lost, you look at the dynasty that way things were. But the team pulled through and they won. But here's what you're talking about, the question. Went to the Black Hall of Fame. They have the Black Hall of Fame that's Sports Hall of Fame that's in Philadelphia. And out of all the guys, they decided they nominated some guys through the years. But Coach George Goldenberg got nominated and inducted into the Black Hall of Fame. Now, why you ask that? Because he is a white and Jewish, but he has the thing about that makes it so strong and powerful. Through the years, he's had his hands nurturing and building him and building up young Black men, especially like myself, and going on to like people of the late Clarence Tillman and Mike Nichols and Greg McKinley and Darrell Warwick. He had his hands on us, and he had his hands to being able to teach us how to be more of men, even though some of us had our fathers around, some of us didn't. But he was the key of teaching us a lot of things, and he did that throughout decades, helping young Black men. So the Black Hall of Fame, President Mo Howard and that group recognized that, and it's not just his achievements of the wins, but also his nurturing of young Black men.
That's pretty incredible.
He was like the high school Pat Riley.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
You know, and he to me, he used to look like a mob boss all the time. Like he used to wear the turtlenecks, and you know, he had the really cool hair, and he just looked like a dude that you just wouldn't mess with. You know, so you guys, I mean, and Keith, you can jump in this at any time because I know you probably experienced because what school did you go to, Keith? I forget. You went to what college did you go to? You went to Drexel, right? I remember you went to Drexel. Okay, so coming up in the 70s and in sports, Vince, Gene, what type of racism did you have to deal with? Did you feel like you had some challenges at times where, you know, you felt like there was some favoritism given to other folks?
I'll let Vince answer that because mine is totally different.
Yeah, I mean, well, I grew up on the south side of Chicago, so I grew up in my environment. Everything, if you grew up on the south side of Chicago, it's all Black, you know. So I had all Black coaches there. Okay. And the one thing I learned, which, man, gave me a strong foundation, is a coach. His name was John Paul, and his nickname was Buck. And in Chicago, and you couldn't do this now, they had a paddle.
A paddle.
Yes. And if you screwed up on a court, you say, Coach, I know. He said, well, just come over to this come over here and I'm gonna help you remember real quick. And we were scared to death of him, you know.
Wow.
And some of us had.
I know your butt was black and blue because I know.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And we like, no. But a lot, it was, you know, in a Black environment there in school or as a coach, you knew they really taught you a lot about life. And that's what he was a disciplinarian. But I tell you what, he made the biggest mark on me simply because we were at attention. We learned, we played, and then leaving there and going to moving to Kentucky, I had a white coach, and I was very untrusting. And I, you know, because I wasn't used to, you know, him screaming at me. I said, that's fine. I'll be honest. I grew up on the South Side doing that. And during the 60s, as a young kid in the 70s, you don't want, I looked at it. I don't want this white guy screaming at me because I thought it might be, you know, I was overreacting some. So I learned a lot, the difference between the two. But I learned both. I learned a lot from both coaches. But my Black coaches in Chicago were the ones that really gave me a great foundation. And then going to Duke, as Tink knows, you had Coach Foster, and was a really, you know, he wasn't one of those screamers or nothing like that. He used a lot of sarcasm in there, and he was the funniest thing. I remember I first walked in his office. He had, and Tink can notice, he had a spray. It said, "What was it, bullshit repellent?"
Yep.
And
he pulled it out on me a couple times.
I said, he pulled it out, but he didn't pull it out on me. He had it out. We came in there and he pulled it out. I said, Coach, he said, oh, this is definitely for Tink, because I know when Tink comes in here, he can be telling me. I promise you, I fell out laughing. He had a spray. Am I right, Tink? Yes.
I'm not gonna lie. That was my.
Tink had all kinds of stories. Yeah, but Coach.
Oh my God. Yeah.
He acted like he was spraying around in the office because that's some bullshit I wouldn't hear. But he was a really good guy, man. He was straight, and so I've had all different types in that way. But you know, the other things of racism in schools was that, you know, a lot of the Black kids just never could get into college because the public schools just didn't teach them enough to pass the tests and stuff like that.
Wow.
Or just using the kids to push them through. and they never could get the grades, the ACT, SAT to get into college and stuff. So it's and that still happens, believe it or not.
Yeah.
But I can't say I was lucky. My mom and dad, prepared me for it. They just said, hey, in anything you do, you gotta be twice as good. That's just the way you gotta be. You can't complain. You just got to find a way to win. And on and off the court, and you got to be twice as good. So you can complain, just be better. You got to find ways to get better because it ain't gonna change. So that was kind of I learned in that aspect growing up in the 70s.
Gene, what
late
about
60s,
you?
70s.
My situation was a little bit different. It's really interesting. My mother was like Mother Teresa, so everybody pretty much in the neighborhood was own a house. My grandmother, they would always cook. And she was open to everybody coming in. I mean, it didn't matter what color you were. So I grew up through that. With the coaching, I had black coaches through the Sunny Hill League. And you got to give where credit is due. The Sunny Hill League gave me such a rounded nurturing that you can't believe, not just with Sonny himself, who put the league together, who is a godfather of myself, but you have people there like Claude Gross and T. Shields and Hildebrand Pelzer and Larry Cannon and Bob Black. On the list, we had that surrounding a village of nurturing, and they put a foot up in your behind if you acted out. You didn't act like you had no sense. Goldenberg also spanning with him, with the team, it was all about us getting ourselves ready and preparing ourselves. We didn't really worry about the other team. He was worried about us knowing what we had to do. So I never really had it's really interesting. Never had a thinking about the racial part of it because one, we were winning. And then when we played against white teams, it wasn't that we felt inferior. I mean, superior. We went out and we did our action with our abilities, then with our mouths, and it just shut it right up. And they knew their place, but we didn't rub it in their face that we were superior than you are. We just, and I think that quelled a lot of situations where they didn't come off on us a certain way. I never heard nobody call us nigger or things of that nature. We walked in like military conduct. You saw our uniforms. And then when you kicking butt and winning, ain't much they can really say, you know what I'm saying? So that was true. And then I went on to Duke, and I knew I was coming to the South. I've never really been to the South, even though I found out my grandmother was born in Raleigh. Never knew that until graduation. But I came down there, and I'm the #1 player in the country. So, and I'm coming to Duke. People surprised. My family's even surprised they even came to Duke. So
let's talk about that really quick. As a segue, real quick. Why did you choose Duke?
It was divine intervention. I mean, it was divine intervention. I mean, I liked, my mom loved Norm Sloan. I visited NC State. I went to California, UCLA, loved California. I went to the Playboy Mansion, so we can say if they had the paper, they had a signed letter of intent, I'd have signed it. But anyway, it's a tough decision. Something my mom and I, we sat and talked in the bed. And I said, Mom, I really don't know where I want to go because every school I visit is just as nice as the other school. I'm 17 trying to figure it. And she said to me, I was able to come back home. And she said, I want you to go in your room and I want you to pray about it. That's all she said. I closed my door. She locked the door. My mom never locked my bedroom door. And I was in there. I had my turntable. I put on my Barry White. That's who I was. I loved my Barry White. So
Barry White.
I closed my eyes and I dreamt of wearing the Duke uniform. And when I woke up the next morning, my mom always taught us because we stayed in church most of the time, all the time, pretty much. It was in our basement at one time. So, and I told Mom I knew where I wanted to go. She even asked me, and she says, "You got a vision?" I says, "Yeah, how'd you know?" Okay. So she said, "Let me call the school." We called the school. Walter Scott, the principal, said, "No, wait, the world's going to want to know." 2 hours later, we went up there and I walked in. No one really knew. I talked to Julius Thompson from the Bulletin. I gave him the scoop. He came over to the house and maybe one other person. But when I went into that press conference, everybody did not know really where I was going. Wow. And when I said Duke, everybody was like saying, "What?" They said, "Are you out of?" I heard somebody say, "Are you out of your mind?" He said, "Do they even have a basketball team?"
Now that's amazing because thinking about, Duke the way it is now, and I mean, and Coach K and all that, to hear that they did not have the greatest basketball, that's hard to believe. I've been to Cameron Indoor Stadium. I've been there with the Cameron Crazies. I mean, literally the floor is shaking. Like, that place is on fire. And I've seen Coach K in his glory at a game, and it's like, to think about someone saying, does Duke really have a basketball team? It's just super strange.
No, that's true. The one thing that I want to say about race too was that I watched them play Gene's freshman year at Duke, and they all played together. It was the most together, and they played with fun. So the one thing about sports, you got to play together as a team, and the racism as on a team, everybody has different cultures, and you learn to play together. And I watched them play, man. I said, man, they're having fun. These guys, and they're in the championship playing, and that's what drew me to them. And that's the great thing about basketball and about sports, that racism can't be a part in that.
Yeah,
can't be a part in it.
So was that something, real quick? Was that a reason why you wanted to go to? What made you want to go to Duke?
Oh yeah, because they looked like they had so much. Well, the number one thing, my mother was an educator, was a teacher. And I said, hey, if I can get a scholarship going to a very good academic school, I'm going to do that. And I was going to either go to Duke or Notre Dame. In the same schools, Gene was a good student. So they recruited certain players, and I was All-American. I had a choice of where I wanted to go. But I saw that, and then I wanted to play in the ACC. And then I said, what would make the number one player in the country, Gene Banks, go to Duke? Because I promise you, I didn't know about Duke any before then.
Right.
And they didn't have any black players, no top All-Americans coming there. That's what people don't realize, that, and I can say it, and I'm not just blowing smoke, that he was the pioneer, first really black All-American to go there. And after Johnny came after me, Johnny Dawkins, Tommy, and now Grant Hill, you just name them all, So that was the thing. They were having fun, and this guy's going to Duke, and they're winning, and they're on TV, and they're having fun, and that was really the main factors of me coming there. And he took talk about that now. He took a big chance going there.
Well, I want to say that you did have I did invite another one of your brothers to join us today, but they could not join us today because today is their birthday. And so I'm good. So I am just simply going to read this message that he said. Okay, I got to find it. But he says that he really wish he could be here today, but he and his wife Nadine are in New York going to see a show.
Awesome.
And he said, just give Gene my best. He's like, but it's my birthday today and I'm with my wife. So we want to officially say to Kenny Denard, the dog, happy birthday.
The one and only, man. He was
the one and only.
The one and only.
Well, let me just say this.
They made him.
That's when we played in the Final Four against Notre Dame, and it shows when you talk about race. And we won the game. The game, we were blowing them out at first, but they came back and won. We won the game under the 2 shots by John Harrell as well, who has been deceased. But after the game, we won. We were so happy. Kenny ran from full court, and he jumped into my arms, like I'm not gonna say. And we hugged each other, and it was on ABC, Wide World of Sports.
Yep, I remember that.
And they captured that, and that showed out throughout the whole world. And that showed what kind of team we were, and that it wasn't about race, it was about who we are as character one another. And just to elaborate more on that other thing too, is my mom sat me down and she said to me, what you did, I didn't even ask you where you were going, but what you listened to God, and he's going to take care of you. He's going to make you do something that you don't even have the idea of what you're doing, but it's going to be so significant. More than anything else you ever did. I remember her telling me that after the press conference, and I was like, okay. But she says, no, you obey what he has, and he's going to take care of you. He's going to do more for that school than they even imagined. I did not even understand what she was saying. We're going to go win, we're going to play, but it really made a big difference. And whether they retire my number or not, which they haven't, and we're not going to get into that at this moment, but I did everything I was supposed to do by listening to God, and He allowed me to have the stage and the forum. And the greatest thing I love more than anything else is that guys like Vince and Johnny Dawkins and Grant Hill, they saw me, they believed, and they wanted to know, and they followed in the footsteps. That's what it was all about. Of me open that door up so that they can come through. And I told them, I said, they're going to be those that come after me that are going to be better and stronger and more marvelous than I am, even though I know I feel I'm the greatest.
Well,
I feel I'm the greatest, but they're going to be better than me and stronger.
Zion, got Zion now. Them dudes.
Oh my God. So we had another one of your Duke brothers that when I contacted him, he said that yeah, I'm at the airport coming back from Jamaica. So, and I was like, well, I'm pretty jealous. And that was Mr. Robert Brickey. So the brick.
The brick. They go off to Jamaica, they go off to Paris.
I'm trying to tell you. And he said that he wouldn't be landing until 6:50, so he wouldn't be able to make it. He'll have to catch you on the rebound, but he sends his best. So Keith, talk about when you went to school. What did you experience?
It was interesting because, and Gene, you can probably attest to this. Well, I mean, you as well, Matt. When we were at West, we were surrounded by people who were trying to nurture us and trying to push us. I was in the motivation program, so I had, counselors and teachers, the Philippians, Deadweiler, I can get the whole list who were always, so, you get to a school like Drexel and the vibe is, the professional vibe is I got mine, you got to get yours.
Yeah.
And kind of going back to something Vince said, I saw, people who looked like me in my freshman class. And after having, conversations with them, I'm like wondering, why are they at Drexel? It became very clear to me that, they was there so the school could get the money because they had no concept of those people sticking around. And so, that was like one of my first forays into discrimination in education. And then there's something else that jumped out at me when I got there. I think that was Drexel's first or second year in Division I. They moved up to Division I basketball, and they brought in a kind of a high profile coach, local coach, and had a nice staff. But in talking to them, because G. Goldenberg had reached out to them to get me an opportunity to be around the team, and in talking to the coaches, they told me that their hands are tied. I said, what do you mean? They said, well, we got a memo from the athletic director that the basketball team had to reflect the population of the school.
Oh, wow. Wow.
That's deep.
That is deep.
Yeah.
That is really, really deep. So they had to reflect the population of the school.
Right.
So we know the population of the school.
It was Drexel. So it was
Drexel University in Pennsylvania, right? So we know the population.
So it was only what, 3%, 4% black at the school. So they had I think one or two black players on the team, and then that AD got fired, and it started to change.
Okay.
They brought in Brodus, and Brodus from University City, and Gore transferred in, and so it started changing, but not fast, not that fast. It's funny, they went from that to what's his name being the coach over the years. Come on, Gene, help me out, man.
About Bruiser Flint?
Yeah, Bruiser Flint.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Bruiser Flint.
Yeah.
Bruiser Flint's dad was one of the guys in the rec league that trained me, that taught me.
Right.
He was we call him the Black Bobby Knight.
Wow.
He was a madman.
Yeah.
But he taught me about winning. He didn't accept nothing less. He would kick a guy in his behind if he walked past. I mean, he was that crazy. He didn't kick me in my behind, but that was a whole nother story. But he was he believed, if you watch Bruiser Flint coach, that was his father. Through and through.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, that was kind of crazy. That was kind of crazy,
But I wanted to say this as well. And my sister went to Drexel, so I watched him and what the thing was going on at Drexel, and that was basically what you just said is not something that was rumored. That was true.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a sad state of affairs. But then it changed. Even coming down at Duke, we had some situations where we had John Harrell, who transferred from North Carolina Central, HBCU school. John Harrell doesn't get enough of his credit of what he did for our team. He was a really great one-on-one player. John Harrell has passed away, but when you watch the games of Notre Dame and all this, John was the leader of that team. And the following year, let me tell you what's happened. The following year, the first day of practice, Coach Foster changed John with Bobby Bender. Bobby Bender transferred from Indiana, had been on the championship team. He was coming off the bench as we went to that, but we had the team set. First day of practice, they changed the white guy, the black guy. And that just took John's heart completely away. It wasn't even a competition. And that was the beginning of the end for us. It really was.
So do you think, okay, go ahead, Vince, go ahead.
No, I remember we talked about that, because you got to realize when you say that's the one aspect about racism is that the blue bloods, the Dukes, Kentuckys, a lot of time they don't want to see. They might be the five best players might be all black, but you're not putting all 5 black players.
You're not going to put all 5 of them
because you got boosters. And they got to have that. And that was another aspect back then that you had. And now even now to a certain extent, now you have to, because let's face it, a lot of African Americans dominate the game. But you really, I coached at Louisville, and you had Louisville, Kentucky. Kentucky couldn't play; they had to play probably 4 white guys and 1 black guy, the 2 back then when I was growing up. And Louisville, Denny Crum would play all brothers. Didn't care, the best guys. So there was that part of it is big, because boosters want to see, with the majority of them, the people that the president or whatever, the boosters, big money people, wanted to see some of their guys that look like them, which were predominantly white on that court. On that, Duke would never come out there with no 5 guys.
Political, was financial. And so we're not gonna play all the dudes. Here's the interesting thing that they knew also too, that without you guys playing, they didn't stand a chance to win. So we want to bring you on because we want to win, but we can't have too many of you guys playing. Right. So we got to have a quota. So
there were teams that would have won if they played them all. And they just didn't, because they couldn't do it. I've heard that many times.
Well, they
can't put all 5 brothers out there. Can't do it.
Yeah, you can't have all 5 brothers out there at the same time, right?
But now in this year,
yeah.
Go ahead, Gene. What were you saying?
And it seems like, go on.
Now, I was
No,
gonna say,
I was just saying that the narrative now has changed so drastically. It's now you got to play because these kids are so talented that whether you're white, black, or listen, the international kids are coming in taking over the NBA.
well, that,
right,
Yep.
right,
So
right.
Yep.
you can have as much racism as you want to,
So
but
you think it has changed now in terms of, we want to win games, we want to raise sports, we want to raise money, we want to bring, notice to our schools. So we'll play all 5 black guys. We don't care.
but it still exists.
But it still exists.
changed.
It still exists. It definitely does. Yes.
Exactly.
The games that they have, but it's a tough situation. They make tough decisions, but it still exists, as you will see how the country has been in the last 8 to 10 years.
Right.
Is it existing in
and
the
I can give
NBA?
you the aspect.
Oh, absolutely. NBA went through a whole. You go back to the 70s with the Knicks. Well, not the 80s with the Knicks. The whole Knickerbockers.
Yep,
The
you're right.
Knickerbockers.
I was on my rookie year. You're right. That's what they call
Yeah.
us. My rookie year, the Knicks call us the nigger box because we were all black.
And
I was like, wow, that took me out. I ain't lying.
that's how Spike D got on the front row because the people sitting on the front row stopped coming to the game.
Yep. There it is. You're right about that.
Okay.
100%.
Wow.
100%.
So I just wanted to say that if you are watching out here and you wanted to ask any of these scholars, basketball scholars, a question, that the link is in our bio. The link is out there for you to join in and ask a quick question. And I was really hoping that this person could pop on, and who knows, before we get off, they could still maybe pop on. But I was really, 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 really hoping that they would come on. And they actually sent me a text and said, could you send me the link again? And I told them that we were on now. So, and that's the great Ralph Sampson. And
Wow.
the great Ralph Sampson.
Oh my
And so
God.
I sent him back the link
Big
and
Ralph.
said, hey, you can come on now if you can. But Ralph is on the West Coast. He's out there doing some baseball stuff. So I don't know what he's into now, what he's doing.
He's the Renaissance man.
He's always doing something.
Playing at Duke and having an opportunity to play against a guy like Ralph Sampson, it was something of I wouldn't say a dream, but you're playing against somebody who comes out and like even with Artis Gilmore, he's 7'2". Artis was like a giant. Ralph was tall and he was lanky, but the thing that was amazing to me about him, I would watch him gracefully. He ran gracefully, and he for a guy that height, he had so many type of skills, like a guy that was 6'2" or 6'3", and that amazed me about him. And I had to get myself just warming up. I had to get myself back in because I was in awe of his ability, not so much of his awe that he was a good player, but of a guy that size and with that kind of agility. I had to get my head back into it. I said, I got to play against this guy. He's jumping out the building the whole 9 yards. So, but I was amazed at how, listen, you think about Ralph Sampson, those teams he had. Jeff Lamb was a great player. He had some good players on there, but they had they had a mixture of white players around them that you could have put some black players, and that would change the narrative or the situation. I'm not saying that but we balls, we know what I'm saying. Okay, we know what I'm saying. You can keep Jeff Lamp in there. He let him handle his business, but he had to carry a big load, and he didn't get a chance to win the ACC title. I won 2 of them. So with the help of Vince and the other guys, and Ralph didn't get that opportunity. Carolina knocked him out a couple times, and but guys like Ralph Sampson, they only come like then Patrick Ewing comes, and Patrick went through a lot of stuff with racial things, and they call them things of that nature. Guys had to endure a lot of things when we're talking about race. And Ralph went to University of Virginia, and you know how Charlottesville, how that area is. So,
hey, look, Gene, Patrick Ewing's first trip into the Palestra after he chose Georgetown over Villanova, the Villanova students held signs up saying, "Patrick, can you read this?"
Wow.
You know, they was all cheering when he was leaning toward coming to Villanova. When he switched and went to Georgetown, then all the racial stuff came out. It was so bad that John Thompson threatened to walk out.
Yeah, I was fortunate. I didn't really have to deal, with a lot of that. A lot of guys paved the way and took a lot of brunt hits in order for open up for me to come in there. And then I come to Duke, and it could have been raw dog, but I came in there and I was number one player. I came in and I delivered what I had to do. I had some great brothers out there that played with me, white and black. So I didn't really deal. They could even crack on me about the Tinkerbell name, and I never experienced anybody call me like a fagler or gay anything. I'm very surprised. My experience, racial-wise, at Duke, we were playing, we were balling. I brought the Durham community over from Durham to Duke, opened them up to it, and they were allowed because you're the number one player in the country. And so they had to kiss a little bit of butt to allow some things happen. And they really realized when they saw black folk, just common black folk hanging around with me around the school, they just regular people. These kids over here that their families are paying $100,000 for, they tell you school before they were. And that opened up school to show that, black folks, white folks, black folks in Durham, they just as good as the white folks that go to school at Duke. And I was glad I was able to open that up as well.
Wow, this has really been interesting. A very great conversation. Sorry, Ralph wasn't able to pop on, but we're going to get him back. I'm going to do an ACC show with you and
I love some
your
Ralph.
ACC guys, and then she'll have to come back and be a part of that. And Keith, if you want to pop in on that, you're more than welcome to pop in on that show. But we're gonna do something really, really cool and bring some of the great ACC guys back, and so that you guys can chop it up a little bit. So I can just sit there and go, wow, because I'm a huge basketball fan. I'm from Philadelphia, as Keith is there wearing his 76ers hoodie. Is it cold there, Keith? Because it sure is cold in Atlanta. And Vince, I was seeing all the palm trees in the back there. What's the weather there like, Vince? Because it's cold here.
He might not can hear you.
Vince got on a t-shirt and Vince, you got on a t-shirt and we see palm trees and everything. It's cold in Philly. It's cold in Atlanta. It's cold in Greensboro. What's the weather there? Can you hear us, Vince?
No, he's
muted.
He's driving his Ferrari, relaxing around. He's living. That's big. That's big. I love it.
He got us muted. Well, listen, this has really been a lot of fun and just really impromptu, Gene. I know we're gonna have you come back because we were gonna talk about some other things as to what you're doing. But just before we leave, tell everybody like what you're doing right now and how are you helping out the community in the North Carolina area.
Well, I was brought in to bring athletics back to Gaston College. Gaston College is a junior college in Dallas, North Carolina, which is right next door to Gastonia and about 17 miles from Charlotte. I was brought in to be the athletic director, did the job, hired the coaches, so forth, with the help of a guy named John Horshack as well, who came in from Greensboro. And the John Horshack, myself, and the president, John Hoosier, we were like a triangle, and we got this thing going and up and running. As things went on, I decided, we both decided me moving up to be special advisor to the president. And with me having the success of the podcast, which thanks to you, my dearly lovely Lynette, made the podcast one of the best ever. They wanted me to help with the radio station, WSGE 91.7, to get them up more. And we have a show called The Thundering Rhinos, a sports review with Gene Banks. So with that, and I'm also working to get scholarship money for minorities and underprivileged people so they can go to school and finish their product for the 2 years. So that's got me busy. I got this beautiful, huge office here. And but the great thing about it is that what I like to try to do is try to help with diversity, getting things here with the diversity piece of it.
That's good.
And I'm doing a lot of things more outside the community than in. They feel that they got enough from me. They don't bother me as much here as anything else. But so I try to try to raise some more money for the school and for the athletics and also for the students. But I'm doing also a lot of things on outside the program for those that are the usual stuff I do. And
Right.
I enjoy that. I love that part of it. And who knows? I hope to be here. I may not. I'll make a decision in December to continue or to go some other venue.
All right. So Keith, what's going on with you? What's happening with you? What are you doing these days?
I'm enjoying retirement.
Because you are the oldest of
Vince is
all
back
of us.
too. Vince is back. He can hear us.
Oh,
I'm
Vince,
back.
you're
Yeah, I
back.
can hear you now. Yeah, I'm back. I was gone for a minute, but I'm back.
You was gone for a minute. You go pick up some food, Vince?
Yeah, and then I lost my connection.
Oh.
It's bad to talk on an empty stomach, right? I'm joking.
We saw you.
We sound like, I think he's picking up some food. So
Right.
Keith, you're enjoying
I was
retirement.
trying to get on. Yeah.
So Keith, you're enjoying
I'm back.
retirement.
Yeah.
So where did you retire from?
What
I
you say?
IRS.
Yeah. I put my time in, did my 31, and decided it was just time to enjoy life.
Wow.
Going in and out.
So okay, so Vince, we were talking about weather earlier, right? We were saying it's cold in Atlanta, it's cold in Greensboro. Keith has a hoodie on from the 76ers in Philadelphia, and we saw palm trees there, and you have a t-shirt on. What's the weather there?
He's going in and out.
He's going in and out.
That's okay.
Well, it's
I can-
obviously it's warm.
Yeah. Well, I've talked to him, and Orlando, Florida, supposed to get hit by what is the thunderstorm that was happening. But
Okay.
he said around him, he didn't get hit, but
Okay.
around him they got flooded.
Oh, wow.
He was-
Wow.
So we talked about that.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you all for Vince is out. Thanks, Vince. If you hear this and you're back, we thank you for popping in and sharing some of your great knowledge and helping us to understand that there really was and there still is racism in sports, and we really do need to kind of work towards making sure that we annihilate this. And here he's back again. So it's live TV. Hey, Vince, how you doing? He's probably got a bad connection.
Yeah, he said he's lost his connection.
He's lost connection. All right. So, but anyway, I just want to say thanks for supporting the show. Share this out. This was really a lot of fun. It was impromptu. G had no clue. I mean, he just knew that people could pop on, but he didn't know who we were having pop on. Like I said, I talked to Ralph today, and he said, I'm on the West Coast doing some stuff. Give me the information, send me the link. I'm going to try to pop in. And around 6:07, he said, can you send me the link again? And so I wasn't looking at my phone. And so I sent him the link, but obviously he's gotten super busy. We want to say happy birthday to Ken Denard. And I know, to the dog. And definitely to Robert Brickey.
The dog.
Right.
The dog.
Robert Brickey, did you bring back rum? Did you, did you bring back something good from vacation? So hopefully we can get Brick on at another time, and so we can continue on.
Hey, Lynette, weren't you on a vacation? Some I kept up with you on Facebook. You talking about vacation? She talking about vacation. She all over the place.
Listen,
right?
Listen. Somebody got to be all over the place.
And Tink styling. She had a hat broken
I know.
down. Styling.
Listen,
Styling.
you got to represent when you go on vacation.
Just switching back and forth.
You were representing. I said, man, living a good life.
You got to do what you got to do. Listen, you guys know this to be true. You work hard. And
That's
you
right.
have to play hard.
Play hard.
And so I worked very hard, and I had to go and play for 6 days in the sand.
There you
and
go.
in Mexico, and I was hoping like, oh my God, my tan is fading now, so I'm hoping that I can get somewhere warm where I can kind of re-up this tan and get
Right,
that base going. So,
right,
but yeah, so
I
it's
need
been
some
really
days
good.
like that. I need some days like this.
Well, you know
right.
what? It is important that you take a break. I played a video earlier today when we started from telehealth, which is, the president of telehealth, Robert Adams. And, they're running a special for three counseling sessions, 50-minute counseling sessions for $120. Now, you can't go see a therapist and for $40. But
Right.
he's doing this specifically because we've lost a lot of people this year. And there's going to be a lot of people that are not going to be sitting at the dining room table for Thanksgiving and for Christmas this year. And so, so it's important. I say it's super important to unplug. This was the very first time that I didn't check one email while I was away.
Mm.
And I never detach. And I detached this time. And so it was really important. And I think it's important to do self-care for you. I mean, give us something really quick, Gene, that you do for self-care for yourself.
Well, the last couple of months, I've been locked up pretty much. I've come out from time to time, but I take some time to close my door. And sometimes people say I shut down. But what I try to do is close myself and think about the things and try to analyze them in my best knowledge. Now, mind you, I don't knock out a therapist giving me that more knowledge. So I'm open to going to see a therapist, and people should see a therapist.
Absolutely.
Because of the fact that we have certain things we think about and have these ideas. And like I said, I'll go into maybe a depressive type of state for a moment and shut down. But I've always been able to, thank God, come out of it because I'm realizing I got my daughters and my sons. And somewhere the next morning, I'm like, you know what, bro, you can't be laying up in here just like worrying about like some little, sit your behind up at your pity party. Let's get busy. Whatever's going to happen, happen. And it's almost like you get structured to do that, but you still need someone to help you through that path through it. Like you always had your mother, you had your minister. Somebody always had that one to give you that extra concept or that structure. And I've had my own way of coming out that I don't know if that's called grit or whatever, but I also still need that little bit to be able to guide me and help me say, well, Gene, try this. Well, maybe you didn't look deep into that. And I go, yeah, you're right.
Right.
So those are the things I do. I'll shut down and close my door, and I'll try to analyze it before I say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing. Wow. And
Keith, what about you? What do you do for self-care? What do you do? You're retired, I know, but I mean, what do you do? What and how could you advise someone out there that could be going through something, to just maybe take a page from your notebook about self-care? And I know this is difficult to say this to guys, right? How do you handle self-care? But it's important. You need to put something back inside of yourself as well.
I kind of discovered mediation. I mean, meditation. Right? Mediation. That's what I used to do.
Meditation?
Yeah, meditation.
So you've been doing meditation?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I love it. Take time throughout the day to breathe. Exercises. That helps you to control anxiety.
Yeah.
It also helps you. It helps you to get inside of yourself. Your thoughts. And make your thoughts make sense. Understand. What it is that the universe is trying to tell you.
Yeah. You know what is so amazing, Keith? That's powerful. That you could say as a man, you know what? I discovered meditation, and when I first started, I started meditating, but I'm gonna just be real. I couldn't do it for 5 minutes. Like I really couldn't, because my brain wouldn't shut off, and so I wanted to know where the murder hornets came from. Why is the color yellow? What's that bird song? It was just so many things.
That's a misnomer. People think your brain doesn't shut off.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It can't shut off. But it's just about you finding peace.
It's about you finding peace. Right,
Mhm.
right. Hey, it looks like we may have somebody special. It looks like it just popped in. It says device not connected. So they're trying to connect. Let me just send them a quick text. Y'all are going to love this person.
Oh Lord.
Why you want that?
Huh?
Net.
Uh-huh.
When you set up your ACC show, let me be your Ed McMahon.
Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So it says that device not connected. This person is trying to connect from their device. And if you can hear us, please try again. Try to pop out and pop back in, because we would love to have you on. We're still here, and we've got Vince the Prince. Oh man, God! So why didn't you put Prince there, Vince, in your name?
Now I didn't come up with that name. You gotta realize I didn't come up. Some people
I came up with that name.
Tink came up with it, and rhymed with Vince the Prince, and because I'm a nice guy, I don't know. I'm just like Tink had a lot of nicknames. I really didn't have a lot of nicknames, and but that stuck with me, Vince the Prince.
So that stuck with you.
It wasn't because of the singer or nothing like that. It was just it rhymed, and Tink came up with that stuff.
Okay. So Vince, talk about some self-care for you. I mean, what do you do?
Yeah, I try to early in the morning. I work out, whether it's walking or ride my bike, and that's a form of meditation for me. To clear my mind and just clear my thoughts. Because every day you get up, man, there's anxiety and you're stressed, and you think, all right, what I got to do today, or something like that. But I do that. That's my form of meditation, and obviously self-help. I try to go to church as much as possible. Just to rely on the Lord and stuff like that. But mainly, like I said, just I exercise, lift, and the older we get, you just can't stress out over all the things. You just gotta go with the flow. Like Tink was saying, you got kids and stuff like that. They're going through stuff. You can't. I've learned not to worry about as much as let them face what they're going to face, and you're going to help them. But the other thing that helps is keeping in touch with your friends that lift you up. Because for sure. I might say, hey, Tink, man, I'm gonna sing you this upbeat religious song, which is cool. Check it out. Or it might be a song we used to listen to. Back in the day, to get you pumped up. For that. But as I've gotten older, as we go through lives with our families, we kind of get away from our brothers and guys, our friends that we grew up with or play ball with. And as you get older, you realize, man, that's you need that, to check up on each other and stuff like that. And I think it's changed more especially as hey, as Black men say, man, love you, man. Hey, take care of yourself, because we grow up in a society. My father never really used that word love or nothing like that,
I neither.
say that. Yeah, you just didn't. We didn't grow up as Black. He just never did, and you learn to use that with your son and obviously your daughters and everybody else. But as men in the Black manhood thing, you didn't say that to each other that much. And I think that's key, and I learned that. And I learned that from, and Tink would say that, man. And and I realized, man, that, you got to let your guard down and embrace each other, and just check up on each other. So that helps a lot. That helps a lot in that form,
Well, the great Ralph Sampson is trying to connect right now.
Big Ralph.
I was trying to.
Man, they ain't teaching how to work a phone in Virginia. Big Ralph.
It says this device is not connected. It says they will need to connect their mic and cam before you can add them to the stream. And so I just sent it. He says I'm blocked for my mic and video, and I'm like, no.
All you gotta do is push the button on there. It says on there.
Tell him I love him anyway. I love him.
Big Ralph. Yep. Big
Ralph. So listen, somebody else just popped in. They wanted to say hello to Eugene. I'm going to bring that person in right now. It's not Ralph. Ralph said he tried. And look at this.
Oh,
this is Gene Banks Jr.
Uh-oh.
How you doing, son?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Huh?
It's been a while since we talked.
You look healthy. Like you ain't catch nothing.
No, definitely. I'm glad you noticed that. Well, I'm okay. I'm okay.
I'm doing good out here in this it's not crazy city. It's just it's just an interesting city because I guess the politicians they starting to find out the politicians just stealing money and not helping out the city. So that's I know we're on the record right now. I'm not telling on nobody.
Just tell the truth. Just tell the truth. That's all. Just tell the truth. Don't worry about it. The truth.
But I'm still doing God's work and also my work. My grandson is doing good, which is your great grand. His birthday was just up today.
That's right.
Great grand, Gene. You didn't tell us.
Right, man. I know you're the great grand. Man.
Great grand, yes. Sir.
I'm sorry, we're on video. I'm sorry.
you breaking records. You breaking records. You breaking records. Great granddad.
Yeah.
Well, Ralph says he tried. Some sort of way his phone was not allowing him to tap in, so we will not see the great Ralph Sampson tonight. Really wanted to see him pop in, and hopefully if he tries one more time before we get off, maybe he will be there. But he is out in California trying to do some stuff and working, grinding. You know, Ralph is all about making moves, right?
Right.
And
maybe Ralph was. He didn't want you gonna maybe show that video with Tink got him in
yes.
Where we're in Virginia. I got to mess with Ralph.
Real quick. Do not get Tink aroused. Because you're getting his, you know his dad, you know his little, he's getting all excited. Oh my God, I'm getting moist.
Well, here's the interesting thing is that the first time Gene on his podcast interviewed Ralph, he said, Gene, I'm still upset about, how you dunked on me, right?
He got him.
And then I interviewed Ralph on my podcast, and I said, Gene is out here, and he wants to say hello. And I said, he just probably wants us to talk about how he dunked on you.
I tried to bring it up. Ralph brings it up.
Right.
He always brings it up. I don't want to talk about it.
He's butthurt. That's called butthurt.
It's all documented. So he's doing pretty good, but
he was a formidable guy. You wouldn't. That's what's crazy because he was one of the best players to ever play at 7'4". He didn't ever get his just due. He was skilled as anybody.
He should have came over and played with us. He should have played with us.
No question. He was before his time. At 7'4", that skill.
Yeah.
And to be able to catch him on a dunk, or even think about dunking on that big dude, man.
Yeah.
I was just pissed
off.
It
was amazing.
Listen, I just want to again say thanks everybody. We've been on here an hour and 23 minutes, and it's been so much fun. Vince, thank you so much for
thank you for having me.
Jumping on quick in the spirit of moment. Keith,
what's up, BT? I didn't know that was you, BT.
Yes, sir.
What's up, Uncle B?
Hey,
Gene
man, I'm glad you're doing well, brother.
Yeah. Gene Banks Jr. That's a name that's going to go down in history. Gene Banks Jr., right?
Yeah, it is.
Nice. Thanks so much for popping on and saying hi to your dad. And Gene, of course, thank you so very much for allowing us to do this to you today and to surprise you and bring on some folks. Keith, man, you are, Keith and I go back. We grew up together, not just, I didn't go in. I just realized today you graduated in 1976. Okay, that means that you're older, and I graduated in 79. So we didn't know each other from school. We knew each other from church.
I knew Lynette wore t-shirts.
You said you did what? I didn't hear you.
I knew when she only could wear t-shirts.
Wow.
Come on, Keith.
We can go a lot of different ways with that one.
Well, just say,
I'm being newsy right now. I'm just listening. Y'all keep going, young man.
Keith watched me grow up. Okay. Keith watched me grow up. Keith dated my sister for a long time. So he was always at my house.
Okay.
And then Keith and I marched in a drum and bugle corps together for years growing up. marching in a drummer bugle corps. I was, continuing. I was drum major, spinning rifles. And Keith, you played trombone. Keith plays trombone very well. I'm not sure if you ever knew that. The brother plays trombone like nobody's business. Okay. Wow. But then what bugle did you play in drum corps?
I left before they switched over to the corps.
Okay, all right. So he's very, very, instrumentally inclined. This brother right here can read music and can play music by ear.
Nice.
Have you been playing lately? Have you done anything?
Nah, not recently.
Not recently.
Nah.
So I see our friend Jeff Brasher, of course, is doing some great things, playing with Patti LaBelle. We grew up with Jeff. Jeff was really young. He was really, really young, but we know his family. But anyway, guys, we can ramble on. I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much. This was fun. This is a different show. It was a lot of fun. And I just want to say, continue to support what I'm doing. I appreciate it. Share this out on your feed. I can send it out to all of you. And Ralph just sent me, he just sent me a picture of where he is right now out in California. The weather looks great. And he's out at a baseball game somewhere. So he said, tell the guys I tried. He'll try again another time when we do this. And so
I'm going to tell him I really appreciate him doing that.
Yeah.
We'll come down and visit his restaurant.
Yeah, we need to go visit his restaurant. His restaurant is doing some really amazing things. I see all these cocktails and food, and I'm my God. So Vince, we were trying to ask you what the weather was there, and so because it's cold where everybody is right now.
It's about 85.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
85. No, it's going to cool down to about 70 tonight. So
it's going to cool down to 70.
It's going to cool down, But no, it's now it's better. It's a lot better now because sometimes down here it gets so humid.
Yeah.
But it's good weather now. The best time to be down here is in January and February when it's cold there.
Yeah. Well, he's just invited us to come.
So
I was there. I'll come back. And I didn't get a chance to see you when I was there.
That's right, because we called.
That's right. But I will come back and I will call you. And I was there on business, and I'm gonna come back when I'm not on business. So therefore, we can go hang out. Well, again, guys, I just want to say thank you all for watching and supporting. And until the next time, remember, God loves you. I love you, but most importantly, learn to love yourself. Bye for now.
You got to take care. All love.
You've been watching Speak Out Loud, the story behind the brand with your host, Lynette Jackson. Please like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. And until next week, don't forget to use your voice to speak out loud.